let me kind of share right now what's going on in Isaiah 58. So in Isaiah 58, we're talking about the condemnation of the Jewish people, not necessarily all the Jewish people, but definitely the ruling class, and definitely those who are seeking to be, call themselves priests and prophets, talking about the people who are calling themselves, religious, or calling themselves faithful, those who are standing up and declaring themselves to be such good Jews, or such good, followers of God. And God is really sick and tired of what they're doing and what they're saying, because not only because that it's hurting people, but because they keep acting like believers, talking like believers, saying they believe in him and they believe his word, and then doing exactly the opposite of what he wants. And so I think it's actually really interesting that we're talking about serving people who are difficult in today. Like, that came out of Xanadu was talking about that, and today's passage actually covers a lot of that. So let me just read. So the passage today is Isaiah 58:3, which is why have we fasted and you see it not? Why have we humbled ourselves and you take no knowledge? Behold, in the day of your fast you seek your own pleasure and oppress all your workers. So what you have here is bad things are starting to happen, right? You've got the Babylonian Empire that's growing. You've got the enemy nations that are winning victories. You've got the people of Israel that are facing famine and difficulty and infighting and bad rulership, and like, you got all kinds of bad stuff happening in the nation. And they keep going to church, they keep going to the temple, they keep going to worship, and they're like, so we've done all the religious stuff. Like, we're going through the entire Book of Common Prayer. We're going through the entire list. We're doing all the order of service. We're doing the things that you say we're supposed to do, and you're not fixing everything. How come, right? And the answer is, and I'll show you here what we're going to go through the whole thing, just because hey, why not? It's the answer is what we saw in the verse, is because they're hypocrites. They're hypocrites. So it says here, cry aloud, do not hold back, lift up your voice like a trumpet, declare to my people their transgression, to the house of Jacob their sins. This God, he's talking to the prophet, and he's saying, okay, listen, you need to tell these guys what's what. You need to tell these guys what's up, right? Because there's a problem, and they don't get it. They're not figuring this out. Verse 2. Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as if they were a nation that did righteousness and did not forsake the judgment of their God. They ask of me righteous judgments. They delight to draw near to God. Why have we fasted and you see it not? Right? So what it's saying is that they're going to church, they're going to temple, they're doing their religious stuff, they're following through on all the religious things they're supposed to do, whether it be washing their hands, or whether it be not doing things on the Sabbath, or giving their temple tax, or bringing their sacrifices, or saying their prayers. Like, they're doing all the religious things, and God says, they keep coming, they keep seeking me daily. They say they delight in knowing my ways. They want to hear the messages, they want to hear the sermons, they want to hear the word of God spoken. They say they want to. They call themselves, they think they're such a righteous, different, special nation, right? But and when they come to me, they say, okay, God, give us righteous judgment. Tell us what we're supposed to do. Please explain to us what's happening in this world and why it's not working out the way we want, because we love drawing near to you. Like, you've probably been to churches like this where you kind of walk in there and you hear all these words, let's follow God, let's listen to God, let's do God things, let's obey him, and we love God. And then, but in this context, it's all a facade. Okay, it's all a facade. They if you look up, actually, you know what a good verse is I think it's Isaiah 127, 112. That's what it is. It's 112. So it's Isaiah 112, which says that, when you come appear before me, who has required of you this trampling of my courts, right? God is looking at these people who are coming into the temple, and he's like, I didn't invite you people here. Why do you keep coming? You know, I'm so sick of your offerings. I'm sick of you burning incense. I'm sick of your religious holidays. You know, I'm just so tired of listening to this clamor and noise that you guys are calling religion, that you guys are calling being my people, that you're calling, you know, not Christianity, obviously then, but calling a relationship with me. It's just noise. It's just noise. So going back here, they're wondering in verse 3, why have we fasted and you see it not? Why have we humbled ourselves and you take no knowledge of it? God, we're doing all the religious stuff. Like, I have prayed, I've done my devos, I've given my tithe, I have gone to church, I serve in the, you know, in the Sunday school, I do these things. Why aren't you doing what you're told? Why aren't you making my life better, making the whole world better? And the answer that he gives is this: behold, in the day of your fast, you seek your own pleasure and oppress all your workers. Behold, you fast only to quarrel and to fight and to hit with a wicked fist. Fasting like yours this day will not make your voice heard on high. So they come and they're doing their religious fast. They're coming and they're like, okay, we're doing the religious thing, which is we're supposed to not eat for a little while. We're supposed to like come and pray and come do our religious thing. And he goes, well, you're fasting. You are doing it for your own sake, to show how holy you are. This is the one here, you know, to pursue your own business. In other words, you're coming in and you're saying, you know, I'm doing this because I want something out of God, because I want to be seen as a holy person, because if I don't do this, then other people are going to judge me, and so I'm coming in. The motivation isn't to try to strip yourself of things that are pulling you away from God. The motivation is well, you know, it's for me. I want to get something out of this. I want God to have to bless me, and I'm going to put in the whatever chips it takes for him to do that. When they in the middle of their fast, they're fighting with each other. In the middle of their fast, they're literally beating on people in their nation. So this is talking about people who have like masters who have slaves, or people who have employees. They'll go to church, and then after church they'll come out and they will, you know, go and they'll beat on their slave or beat on their employee and say, go do what you're told. And they take these people that they're supposed to be loving and taking care of, the poor, the impoverished, those who are under their care, and they're hurting them. You know, this is what springs to mind immediately, is the reputation that so many Christians have among the wait staff in restaurants. If you know any people who are waiters or servers or waitresses or whatever you want to call them, Sunday afternoon sucks for them. And has for a long time, because all these people who call themselves Christians and all these people who call themselves the faithful will come into their en masse, and they're the worst tippers. They're the most complaining. They're the ones who walk in their Sunday dress, and they seem like they own the place. They're just the worst. And the reputation of these church people among wait staff, in other words, the people that they're supposed to be, you know, respecting and serving and loving, through, you know, saying like, you're here to serve me, and therefore I want to respect and honor you, they treat like crap. That's similar to what this is saying, right? So you come in on your religious day and you're just fighting with people, you're being a jerk, and you're hurting others, right? Fasting like this like yours this day will not make your voice heard on high. Is such a fast that I choose a day for a person to humble himself? Is it to bow down his head like a reed, to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Will you call this a fast, a day acceptable to the Lord? All this, you know, the question, the hyperbole, the rhetorical questions of saying, you know, like, I say I want a fast from you guys, right? And you're saying, and the question is, what kind of fast do you want, God? Well, God's like, do you think that what I want you to do is I want you to come in, lie on your face, you know, bend over, sit around in sackcloth and ashes, then go home, beat on your employees, beat on people that you know, act rude, don't take care of those people that I've taken care of, try to use me like a gumball machine where you put in a fast and I have to give you things. Is that what you think this is all about? No, the answer in verse 6 is this not the fast I choose? To loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the straps of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke, right? Here's what I want you to give up, guys. I want you to give up treating people badly. I want you to give up enslaving people. I want you to give up overworking people. I want you to give up being horrible to your fellow Jews, your fellow, to the people around you, and claiming it's okay and acting like a religious person. That's what I want you to give up. Give up all the yokes you put onto people, all the oppression you give onto people, all the wickedness you do to people. Give all that up. That's what I want you to give up. Fast that. Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, to bring the homeless poor into your house, when you see the naked to cover him, and not to hide yourself from your own flesh? Right? So he says, when you come and you want to be religious, this is James 1:27, right? So let me pull that up. Just the New Testament says, religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this, to visit the orphan and widows in their affliction, to keep oneself unstained from the world. The real religion, the one that God accepts, the one that he wants to see, is the one like this, where we're sharing with those who need it. We're taking care of those who need the most care. We're making sure that those who are homeless or those who are poor are taken care of. And at our own expense, at our own cost, when we see somebody who needs something, to help them and not to turn our back away. See, it says to hide yourself from your own flesh. That essentially means not to pretend you don't see it, right? Not to look at this person who is, homeless or naked or broken or hungry, and to go, to hide yourself, to pretend like you don't have anything to share. That's verse 8. Let's keep going. Then shall your light break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up speedily. Your righteousness shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he will say, here I am. If you take away the yoke from your midst, the pointing of the finger, and speaking wickedness, if you pour yourself out for the hungry, satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in the darkness, and your gloom be as the noonday. And the Lord will guide you continually, and satisfy your desire in scorched places, and make your bones strong, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water, whose waters do not fail. And your ancient ruins shall be rebuilt, and shall rise up the foundations of many generations, and you shall be the repairer of the breach, the restorer of streets to dwell in. The message here is a reminder of how seriously God takes our lives, our choices, our motivations, our decisions. That from the very beginning, it wasn't come and do these religious things and then do whatever you want. Come and, sing the songs, kneel down, put your money in the bowl, say the right words, perform the ritual, and then God has to do stuff. That's never been the way when it comes to God. That's pagan religion. Pagan religion is, how can I play a trick on this God? How can I motivate this God to do good things? How can I placate this God through, sacrifice or action or violence or some horrible thing? How can I strike a deal? God says, no, I don't do that. Right? It's always been that God cares more about your motives, cares more about who you're serving and why you're serving, cares more about how you feel and treat other people, how you feel about and treat those who are the most difficult in the world. That's what he counts as your religious action, right? So James 1:27, when God says, okay, what's pure religion? What is the thing when I say, this is what I want you to do in the world. This is how you reach me. This is how you talk to me. This is how you see me in action. This is how you move my hand. This is how you get your prayers answered. This is how you connect to me the most. Like, what's religion, right? What is religion? God's like, okay, you want the purest form of religion? The thing that's going to do all of that? Serve the poor, love the sick, visit the prisoner, help the homeless, feed the hungry, right? And treat the people around you who are less than you, as in like they don't have as much as you, or they're a worker that is serving you. Treat them with respect, treat them with kindness, treat them with like they're valuable. That is what's going to get your prayers answered. That is what's going to get your connection to me. That's what's going to let your worship be acceptable. That's what's going to change your world and let you experience joy beyond what you've understood before. That's going to give you a peace beyond your understanding. That's how you access that kind of love. To understand the love of God is to serve and love people. So when I think of the people in chat right now, the ones who have been pouring their heart out for someone who is difficult, someone who is sick, someone who has been not the easiest person to be around, someone who is always, has another issue, has another difficulty, and it always seems to have some other thing that's going wrong, and they're giving of themselves and giving of themselves and giving of themselves, and they're trying to do it in such a way that they're just showing love and they're showing kindness, and they feel compelled because of their relationship with God to serve this person that requires so much grace and so much extra energy. I think when I see that, I hear God's voice going, "You're doing exactly what I want you to do to me." Jesus says later, he says, I should probably look it up, but essentially to say, let's read it. So let me just make sure I look it up so we get the right verse. Let's read this just so we get a good understanding of it. So the verse 31, Matthew 25:31. Jesus is talking here, and he says, "When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels will be with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. Before him will be gathered all nations, and he will separate people one from the other, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats, and he will place the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by the Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundations of the world. For I was hungry.'" This is where I'm getting at, right? So they're talking about the end of time, the choices that people have made, who gets to go in, who gets to be a person of God, a favored one of the Father, and who gets to be, the one who is rejected and doesn't get to hear this. This is the separator. This is the separator. He says, "For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me." Then the righteous will answer him saying, this is the righteous, right? This is the people who are doing that. And they're like, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink? And when did we see you as a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" Like, you're God. Like, when did that happen? Right? And in verse 40 it says, "And the king will answer them, 'Truly I say to you, as you did it to the least of these, my brothers, you did it to me.'" When you're serving these difficult people, when you're sitting waitresses and waiters and servers in the restaurant, when you are at the feet of the sick person that is your family member, and it's so hard, when you go out to seek people who are in need and to give to them, when you see a homeless person and you're like, "How can I serve that?" Your compassion goes out. God says, when you do that, it's as though you're showing love directly to God. It's as though you're serving and loving Jesus himself. That's how God sees that. That's why he says this is true religion. This is why in Isaiah he says, I don't accept your fasting because you're not serving those who are in need. You're not feeding the hungry and whatnot. It's because this is how you do that, is where's your love? Where does your love place? Where are your priorities placed? Right? I'll just keep reading just to finish it off. And he says, "Then he will say to those on his left, 'Depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry and you gave me no food. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger and you did not welcome me. Naked and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison and you did not visit me.' Then they also will answer, saying, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and did not minister to you?'" Like, if we knew it was you, if we knew you were important, if we knew that it was, someone important or someone that I needed to do that in order to get to heaven, if I knew I needed to do that because, it would have got me some credit, then I totally would have done it. Right? And Jesus says, well, then he will answer him saying, "Truly I say to you, as you did not do to the least of these, you did not do to me, and these will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life." Are you saved by giving to the poor? No. Earlier, Jesus talks about how, at the end of the Lord's Prayer, he says that you are, if you do not forgive, you will not be forgiven, right? And later he says, as you have measured out to others, so it will be measured to you, right? Those who you give, you're in the parable of the talents, you use a talent or use some talents, it'll be returned to you, tenfold kind of thing. You see that all the time. The gospel goes out and the sower casts and it lands and he reaps a harvest of 100 or more. What he's saying is that the way that someone loves God, the way that someone loves Jesus, the way that their heart has been changed, the way that things have gone so differently in their life, that their priorities have changed, their person has changed, their entire being has changed, their heart of stone has been taken out and replaced with a heart of flesh, their spirit has been cleaned, their eyes have been opened, they're no longer living in the dark, they're seeing the world the way God sees the world. The way that that's happened is because they love the people God loves, they serve the people God wants to serve, they have a preference for the people God prefers, they go out to those where God would go. That's how you know. Right? That's how you know. You've got, it's not about if you give to the poor, suddenly you get God on your side. That's actually the opposite of what Isaiah says. What it says is, what I want from you when it comes to serving me and loving me is that I want you to serve and love those who need it most. So I know you're tired, and I think of Xanadu. I know you're tired. I know you're overwhelmed, and I know you want to do the best. I just want you to know that based on what Scripture says, God sees that, and He credits to you as righteousness. He sees your heart, He sees your motives, and He says, you're gaining treasure in heaven. He's with you. He's walking with you. He's the reason that your love is so much, the reason that your care is so much, the reason that you want to serve and have the best for Him is because the love of God is being poured into your heart, and you're acting more like Jesus. This is how Jesus felt. This is why he wept at the sight of suffering. This is why he went out and he spent all day long healing people, because he looked at people and he saw that they were sheep without a shepherd, that they were just lost, and His compassion overwhelmed Him and He wanted to help. That compassion comes from God. That's why you feel. It's worse if you didn't feel that. There are probably people in chat right now who have had the experience of having their compassion awakened, having their empathy opened up, having their feelings that they didn't have before, where they were kind of pushing them away, or they used to be selfish, they used to be self-centered, they used to be, not really care about a certain people group or whatever. And now, because they meet Jesus, their heart just is overwhelmed with pain. Right? They're like, it was almost better when I didn't love them, when I didn't care, because it hurts so much to see. I can't watch a commercial these days because my heart goes out. God changed me so fundamentally. That's the love of God working in your heart. That's the Spirit of God motivating you to good works. That's how He sees sinners, with compassion. That's how He sees those who are in need, with compassion. And it means you're more like Jesus. I think I'll pause there, and I'll just say I'm super proud of those who are working so hard to serve those who are difficult, those who keep going back to the friend who keeps letting them down, who keeps suffering through with the marriage that is so hard, who keeps loving the child who keeps wandering away, who keeps going to the group that is completely messed up, but they feel like they need to be there in order to shine some light and be salt there, to be a voice of reason or compassion, who go out into the world and are seeking ways that they, not to make a bunch of money, not to use their gifts and talents for how they could be, become better or become rich or become popular. They just like, I've got all this skill and ability, I've got all this talent, so I can do stuff. I want to do it, and I want to help more people. How can I do that? Whether that be an artist making beauty in the world, or a musician singing to people who just need some joy, or someone who knows how to cook, giving to those who don't know how to cook, or teaching a new mom, or teaching some person who is young and have never cooked before just how to make basic meals like that. Because you're willing to do that, you do it for free, you do it out of love. I am so proud of people like that. And if you're feeling motivated to do things like that, do it. Do it. You're going to feel amazing because you will have connected to the Spirit of God. It's hard. I'll finish with this. It's hard. When you start feeling how God feels for the poor, when you start feeling how God feels for the oppressed, when you start feeling how God feels for the widow, it's gonna hurt. But that hurt is gonna motivate you to loving action. Don't run from it. Allow it to motivate you. Use it as your fuel. But don't do it alone. Share that pain with others. Share that, it hurts. Tell people that, help me. I need more resources. I need more, I need you to listen to me because I'm so burdened with other people's stuff. I don't know what to do with it. I just need to pour it somewhere. Help me. Don't do it alone. Because if you try to do it alone, you're going to get overwhelmed. You can't do God's job. You aren't Jesus. You're just one part of the body. So talk to others. Get some help. Submit your desire to help to more people so God can bring around you that team or that group that wants to do that with you. Isn't he cute? He's adorable.
This is just wrong. This is just wrong with so many levels.
The eyes say cute, and then you get close and start screaming. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's a shiter. Look, it's a shiter. I guess that's better than a spark.